Thank you very much, and good morning, conference. And of course, thank you, Ascentis, for inviting me here today. It's a real privilege, of course, to speak to you all. As has been said, I'm Pete Milson. I'm Partnerships Manager for Apprenticeships at UCAS. And I'm going to talk to you today about some of the challenges that young people face when they're leaving school, just to add to some of the challenges that Phil highlighted. I'm also going to talk about what our project Next Generation research tells us about how those young people are making their decisions about education and work, and how UCAS is addressing those challenges by making it our mission to open up greater choice for the next generation. Okay. But first, just a bit about who UCAS are and particularly what we do in the apprenticeship space, because you probably know UCAS already as the UK's admission service for higher education. We're an independent charity, so we're not part of a government department. I know many people will think that we're kind of an arm's length extension of the Department for Education, for example. We're not. We're an independent charity, so we don't get any help from the government as such. We've been around for over 30 years, and millions of people come to us every year for trusted information, advice and guidance. And our core purpose really is to help people make the best decisions they can. But what you might not know is that we're not just for university. We provide information, advice and guidance on all career pathways, including university, of course, but also apprenticeships and early careers as well. We've got about 1.3 million people that set up a UCAS Hub account every year. So those are people that come through our digital front doors. We've got 25 million unique visitors to our website every year, and we're connected with over 30,000 parents, teachers and advisors across the UK. And although we're an independent charity, we do have a commercial operation that makes money. But any profit from that is gift aided back to the charity and is reinvested in widening access to education and career paths for future generations. And importantly, it maintains our independence from the government of the day. So that funding, that money that we make, that's reinvested back into the charity so that we can remain truly independent. But I think the point is that millions of people are already coming to us for trusted, independent information, advice and guidance. So broadening out our services to give people trusted information about apprenticeships and other post-16 pathways as well, all in one place, it not only makes sense, but it's at the core of our charitable objectives, to advance and assist in the advancement of education. And getting people the advice and guidance they need at the right time is more vital and urgent than ever when you consider that as we head towards the end of the decade, there's going to be an additional 200,000 18-year-olds in the population in 2030, and it's growing over the next 5 years. And that means, I think, an increasingly complex landscape in skills, but in education as well, university and work. And in that landscape, people are going to need more help than ever to navigate the choices that lay before them. And that brings me back to apprenticeship. So as I said before, I'm sure many of you will know UCAS as the people that help other people get into university as the admissions service. And whilst that's true, over the last 30 years, UCAS has developed a high-quality, comprehensive advice and guidance service for students to kind of accompany that admissions service. So if you come to UCAS and you're interested in university, you can discover universities, but you can discover university courses. You get support with your application, personal statement, with finance, accommodation, peer-to-peer support. You can listen to podcasts, case studies, videos, and all the rest of it. So by the time you get to university on day one, you've got a very good idea of what you're going to get, and you've been very well supported on your way there. And put simply, we want to do all of that to enable people to discover apprenticeships as well. As I say, made even more urgent by the complex and competitive few years that we have ahead. And not only does it feel like the right thing for UCAS to do, there's also significant demand from our audience as well for apprenticeship information. So we asked those 1.3 million people when they sign up for a UCAS Hub account, we asked them if they're interested in apprenticeships, if they'd like to know more, if they'd like to hear about apprenticeship opportunities, and quite a consistent 40% of them say yes, they would. So in absolute terms, at the end of January this year, that was 440,000 people saying that they would like more information about apprenticeships. And you can see from that chart there how that has stepped up since we first started asking in 2021. So demand is growing and it's not going anywhere. And as students and parents and teachers are already coming to us for trusted information and advice, we feel that we have an obligation to the people we serve to show them not only pathways into university, but also pathways into apprenticeships. So we've developed an equally comprehensive suite of apprenticeship information, advice and guidance for people to discover, including industry guides, for example, employer profiles that provide a kind of shop window for people to discover what it's like to be an apprentice in a particular organisation. We've got sector-specific application guides, support for neurodiverse individuals, support for disabled people that are interested in apprenticeships, and that's all powered by the personalisation of our UCAS hub. And people can also discover live apprenticeship opportunities side by side with university courses. So, for example, if you come to UCAS and you're interested in a career in law or tech or digital marketing or whatever it might be, you come to UCAS, you can type that in the global search. And not only will all the relevant university courses be surfaced to you, so you can have a look at them. It's been a case for a while, but now you can see the live apprenticeship opportunities side by side with those university courses. And that really allows people to make a really well-informed decisions. They can really compare the two, even if, at that point they might not have decided which route they're going to take. So that was a big step for us, putting those live apprenticeship opportunities side by side with university courses. And of course, for employers and training providers, then the UCAS platform that can help employers, recruiters, training providers connect with the apprenticeship talent that they need for their organisations. Which is fantastic, but we all have, as a sector, a challenge on our hands. Going back to that demographic boom of 18-year-olds in the population that I mentioned earlier, and that's 200,000 more 18-year-olds in the population by 2030, and it increases every year until we get there. So demand for university places, for apprenticeships, for A-levels, T-levels, higher technical qualifications, whatever the pathway, that will all go up. But 1 in 3 people tell us that they don't get any information about apprenticeships in school or college at all. 40% of students say that better careers guidance would have led them towards making different choices. And further to that, UCAS's research with the Sutton Trust highlighted that only 6% of students found information about apprenticeships easy to access. And in a recent PLMR report, only 26% of teachers are confident in supporting their students on apprenticeship pathways, compared with the 90% that are confident in supporting that well-trodden university route. And then on top of that, even with the best careers information, advice and guidance possible, young people still need those opportunities to access, and there aren't enough opportunities today in the system to meet the demand that there is, never mind in 5 years' time when the demand will be even greater. And our research, again with the Sutton Trust, found that 3 in 5 would-be apprentices don't go ahead with their apprenticeship route that they wanted to go down because they couldn't find an opportunity in their area. And I'm sure you probably all know the direction of apprenticeship starts for those that are under 19 have headed since 2018. They've reduced by 30,000 in England. So those opportunities aren't there, but the demand is. And it's what we're doing at UCAS to address those challenges that really excites me, and the reason that I really love being part of this project that we've been working on at UCAS for about 3 years now. So we're already showing every person who uses our services relevant apprenticeships at every stage in their personalised journey. We've got that journey wrapped up in information, advice and guidance to help inform decision making. And we're developing services to break down the barriers that students have when it comes to applying for apprenticeships. But what I really think we all need to consider is how the sector can come together, and with the critical work that providers and colleges and university providers and other stakeholders do with employers to help create those opportunities that young people are going to need over the next 5 years. I think that is the next big challenge. So, on to, and I'm not even going to attempt a smooth segue here, onto our project Next Generation research. So I talked about those 1.3 million people that sign up for our UCAS hub, and we've got loads of data points that tell us all about that audience. But with our Project Next Generation research, we wanted to conduct a future-facing study that looks into the long-term plans of the next generation, not analysing data in the rear-view mirror, but taking a snapshot of what those 13 to 17-year-olds are thinking right now. So we took a qualitative and quantitative approach, a dual approach, and with a survey of over 1,000 13 to 17-year-olds across the UK, as well as speaking to them directly. And we explored the driving factors and the attitudes of young people when they're making their decisions about their subject choices and about their higher education choices and their career plans as well. And we released a series of reports, and the most recent one of these focused on early careers and apprenticeships. And I'd like to share some of the headlines of this report with you today. So we categorised our findings into 6 key themes. So we've got inspiration and discovery. So we looked at what inspires young people and in what form. A big takeaway from this was the importance of getting people engaged with discovery early so that their future options aren't limited. Feelings and happiness. Young people are engaged by enjoyment as a motivator, and it's valuable to be able to use this as a way of connecting to this particular cohort, this particular generation. And experience, the need for experience. And we know that young people, obviously, don't have very much of it, but they do recognise how important it is to be able to make informed decisions. So they're aware that they need it. And confidence. We learn how to best give people the knowledge they need to feel confident. Independence and empowerment. And we found that a lot about the role of parents and other influencers in people's decisions. And also control as well. We learned how to give people a sense of control when they feel like they don't have control, and what we can do to make people prepared so that they do feel in control. And I would urge you to download and read the full report on ucas.com. It goes into a lot of depth about these themes, but here are some highlights that I picked out for today. So what channels are people using for inspiration and discovery? This is what we found from our research. We asked people about their post-18 choices and what format they wanted to receive information in and where they saw adverts that particularly resonated with them. And there was a wide variety that you can see up there, but social media is the main source for this group, both for receiving information and noticing adverts. And perhaps that isn't that surprising. Perhaps you knew that already, but a close second, I think it's the bars below social media that are the interesting bit. So a close second came conversations and interactions with people directly from the source. So you get that kind of digital jump there straight to real interactions with real people. Written text takes a surprising priority there. And over 1 in 5 people said that they prefer step-by-step instructions. And you can see in the blue box there where the top places that people find adverts that really resonate from them. But overall, we took from this that people want inspiration and information from channels that expose them to real people, real experience and advice. And then we asked what kind of brands and advertising resonate with young people. So we asked them for adverts that they liked and remembered. And those that really cut through were ones that were inspirational, for example, like Nike. Adverts that do something a little bit differently, like Gymshark, but also adverts that tap into people's motivations around social responsibility and promoting mental health. And again, do have a look at the report to read some more detail on this. But I think certainly what I took away from this report is that we're looking at probably the most mental health conscious generation that we have seen. So I think it's really important to remember that when we're talking to this particular cohort. And linking back to our key themes, people are thinking a lot about enjoyment and happiness, not just now, but also in the future as well. So they're thinking about what they enjoy now, and that's informing their kind of immediate decisions, but they're also very concerned about that future happiness as well. And finding a career that's going to bring them happiness, very important to this cohort. 47% of people choosing enjoying their job as the #1 factor in considering which career path they take in the future. And then this increases the older they get. So what they enjoy right now is driving their more immediate decisions, as I said, but the future is certainly high on their priorities, as well as overall happiness. People want a stable career. They want stable finances, whilst doing something they love for a cause that they believe in, and with a sense of community, and also a sense of control and independence. So, they want a lot, but I think it's interesting. What's interesting here is that happiness is the key driver, and that came up over and above things like earning potential or average salary. And then another one of our key themes is experience. We found that young people find it really challenging to imagine what work is like whilst they're at school. They find it really challenging to kind of put themselves in that place. It's a difficult thing for them to do. So they really value those experiential opportunities that can help put themselves in those careers of the future. They also really value experience as a means of getting where they need to be. So we kind of categorized further experience. So we looked at direct, indirect, and past experiences. And all came up as being really valuable, but the importance here of not only direct experience, but also that inspiration from peers and parents and other influencers in the journey, teachers, careers advisors, for example, who have taken a particular pathway, that really stood out as well. Now, there's loads of detailed information in the reports. Please do read it. You can access it via that QR code there. But I think there are three key things for action that we can take away from the report now and kind of put into practice, perhaps, or start thinking about in our connections with this particular generation. So, number one, bring the workplace to life. People want to see real life programs in a real life concept. And connect across multiple channels. So the mix for people, for Gen Z, which is what we're talking about, the mix is real life and digital. So a multi-channel approach is really important to cut through to this generation. So it's not just social media, it's not just TikTok, it's not just email, it's not just in-person experiences, it's not just video-led content. A multi-channel approach to really capture the attention of these people, to inspire them onto the pathways, and making the right choices for them is really important. And thirdly, remember, it's a discussion and not a broadcast. So people want conversation, interaction, authenticity. So meaningful two-way engagement is vital to inspiring people into career pathways. And I think that it's research like this that helps us understand the next generation of school leavers, and research projects like this. And we've got a lot of, for fans of research, please head to ucas.com. We've got a whole series of reports and research I think you'll find really interesting. But our research, coupled with what we know about our audience, our broad data set, and the trusted information that UCAS provides to young people, that can help those challenges that I outlined earlier on. But again, I'm going to repeat it, the biggest challenge of all, I think, is the challenge of creating enough opportunities for people over the next 5 years. And I think that is something, as a sector, we all need to work on.